Hi guys, Jimmy here from Airstuff Junkies. A customer just sent us in a TM MP7 asking us to do an install on our HPA conversion kit. So the first thing we're going to start with is actually not with the gun but with the engine itself. The tools that you'll need as well are going to be a number 2, a 2.5, a small Phillips head, a large Phillips head, and a flat head, and a set of pliers. First you're going to take the big flat head. You're going to unscrew this a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier to kind of move it around a little bit. And then this is very important. Take a set of needle nose, and you're going to take this little cap off. Don't dig down into it too deep, just the edge of it, and pull out like that, which will expose the contacts on the back of the solenoid. Then go ahead and continue to take off this little flathead right here, which is the air fitting. Which slides out just like that, which will make it easier to install. Now, on the front of the engine, a couple things you want to do is you want to remove the SCU wires, which is this 5-pin right here. Just pull that out. And then while we're here, I'll go over this really quick. The front of the engine, there are 4 pins, or 4 slots that pins can go into. We'll only use 3 of them because this is a jack, and a jack only has 1 solenoid. The jack is going to go into the pin that's signified with a P. And then the trigger, which is this guy right here, is going to go into the one signified with the T, T for trigger. And then this red and black wire, which goes up to here, which is the selector, goes in S for selector. So all we just need to undo is the trigger, and now we're done with the engine itself, and we'll put that off to the side. All right, next we're going to start by disassembling the MP7 itself. This is a out-of-the-box TM MP7. So first start by taking off the sights with the large Phillips. And you can put those off to the side. And now on the top rail, this is very important. There are 3 screws up at the top. The center one is just a fake one, and there are 2 different sizes. There are 2 short ones and 1 long one. The one long one goes in the very front of the rail, and make sure you put that aside. And then take off the 2 small ones. It's important that you remember where they went, because if you try to install it with a long one in the wrong spot, your bolt won't work correctly. You can take that and put that off to the side. And then on top here, there's a small Phillips head. Take that, undo it, put that off to the side. And then on the front, there's a button right here, which takes off the front of the gun. You can just press that in with your finger or with a screwdriver, which will also pull out the battery tray as well. And at the very bottom, you'll see that there is a small Phillips head screw. You need to take your screwdriver and put it all the way down in there. Now we're going to start by taking off the stock, which is held on by these 2 pins. Take a number 2 Allen key and unscrew those screws. Then push the 2 pins out. And this hole slides out along with the charging handle. Then there's a serial plate here. You're going to take it and push that out of the way. And there's also a little plastic piece as well. You can take that and push that out of the way. Then the whole engine should just drop out. And then once that's loose, you can take your wires off, take your needle nose pliers, and everything else, pull it right out. Make sure your hop-up unit, if it does come out, you make sure that the little nozzle is towards the bottom when you push it back in. All right, now we've got the AEP gearbox out. We no longer need that. We can throw that off to the side. Now we're just going to test fit to make sure everything fits correctly. One thing that you do need to mind is that the hop-up in there is straight up and down with the tube facing directly towards the grip. Otherwise, when you try to put the engine in, it won't go in completely because that needs to sit flush all the way up. When you start to slide this in, make sure that you don't put it in an angle, and if you do, that's okay. All you need to make sure is that this little lip doesn't get caught on where the serial is to be. You take this guy, push it all the way forward, and as you can see, that sits flush which means it fits just great. This means that the printing is consistent. We haven't had a problem with this. We just like to do that just to make sure. Sometimes there might be a molding problem, or there may be a problem with the gun itself, because the printing, we test every single one. All right, now we just got to put this cap back on and the line again. The reason why we took this cap off earlier is because of the hex on this part right here. It makes it a little difficult to spin it with that cap on there, so we take that off. All right, now we're going to go ahead and install the line. If you remember earlier, we removed this cap with the needle nose pliers. The reason why we removed that is that on the engine, the little screw in the back there gets in the way of this. So what we had to do just to make this fit a little bit better is we actually ground down the edges there a little bit, just the way we don't have to fiddle around trying to get it in there. So you're going to flip the gun upright and then take this guy and then slide it through. Just like that. And then take your flathead, once everything's lined up, and screw that guy in. Tighten that guy down. And take your little rubber cap, put that back on there to protect the contacts. Push it in there, should be nice and flush. Then we can put our little quick fitting back on there. And that is the engine completely installed. All right, once we got the engine installed, we're just going to do a quick test. So hook up your battery to your FCU and your FCU into your FCU wire. Then take your line, connect it, and then we're just going to go through. So semi, full auto, and safe. All right, now that we've finished testing it, we can go ahead and put everything back together. The only thing to keep in mind is that when you put your rail on, there are those two different length screws. Make sure that the longer one goes in the front. And now that you've gotten that all taken care of, you're good to go. Thanks for watching.